So RTX 4000, specifically the 4090, because well, it's the only card that's been launched, is already having issues. But first, we have a lot of new people to the channel, so if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. You know where the subscribe button is and the like button if you like these videos. And these videos are just gameplay commentaries on things happening in the tech world, so let's get after it. The big issue with the RTX 4000 series, specifically the 4090, and I don't think this will be an issue with the 4080 and below, because it is mostly power draw related. The 12-pin high power connector is designed poorly and as a result is overheating and melting because all 600 watts of available power are being moved through a single pin in the connector. And that's the, and that's the connector. That's just melting. Normally with these issues that are reported like this, I like to wait to weigh in on them because it might just be a manufacturing defect, just something that happens when a small run through the factory isn't working properly or something like that. But no, this is a design flaw. So all cards are being manufactured like this. And this issue is most prevalent on the it's on the adapter that's going from 3 or 4 8 pins to that 112 plus 4 pin connector. That's where it's most prevalent, but the adapters that are coming from power supply manufacturers that are using 4 pins from the power supply and not going through an adapter and just using 4 slightly thicker cables going to the card and doing that sort of pinout. Those seem to be fine, but they're also starting to fail. And this issue is big enough that AMD has even come out and said, yep, nope, our cards, we were originally going to use this connector, but our cards aren't going to use this connector anymore. They're going to go back to the ATX 2.0 standard, not the 3.0 standard, which is kind of bad for Nvidia, but the rest of us, honestly, not so much. It's kind of a good thing for us because people are rightfully so going to say, hey, I don't want to buy this card because it's a fire hazard or it has a slightly higher risk of failure or something like that. So, and AMD is giving us an option that doesn't have that, which is a good thing for us that A, we have the option, and B, well, I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing for Nvidia that they're having this issue, but it's a good thing for everybody. So, moving on. Another thing that's happening is AMD's new 7900 XT is coming in at $899. Now I know this card hasn't been released yet, and I'm talking about the 7900 XT and XTX, not the 7900X. Which, come on AMD, fix your naming scheme. I can't use my last 2 brain cells on figuring out which thing I'm talking about. But anyway, the 7900X coming in at $899. With the way these things normally line up, I think the 7900X will likely perform around the same spot as the 4080, and the 7900 XTX will likely be somewhere between the 4080 and 4090, which, based on how naming schemes and tiers lined up in the past with the 2 brands, that's how I think things will go, which means the real threat is the 7900 XTX for $999. That's the threat to Nvidia, which will likely be the card that will outperform the 4080 for $200 less. Even if it doesn't outperform the 4080, if it can get in the same performance ballpark and still be $200 less and not carry with it a quote-unquote cursed power connector, that's horrible for Nvidia for one, because that's going to start driving market share away from Nvidia because people are going to come in and look at these cards and they're going to say, well, I don't want to buy the 4080. It's got a couple of good features on it, but it's not what I want. They're going to say, yeah, it's not what I want. I can get this other card that's, $200 or $300 less, which is, that's quite substantial. That's in the order of, 15-20% cheaper for roughly the same percentage in raw performance. I know feature sets and whatnot are also going to help drive that decision, but when you add the 2 things together, the non-cursed, non-quote-unquote cursed connector, and roughly the same performance for less money or more performance for less money, a lot of people are going to look at that and say, oh, hey, this is a no-brainer. I'm not going to buy the 4080 or the 4090. I'm going to go with these other cards that typically have better availability, are performing in the same category, and are cheaper with a higher reliability. That's going to be a no-brainer. And that's a good thing, because let me explain. So if you are a fan of the channel, you'll know very well that I almost exclusively own Nvidia graphics cards. I have a 970, a 1070, a 2070, a 3070, 3080, and a 750 Ti. That's just what I have from the green team. Well, from the red team, I have an RX 580 that's broken and a 6500 XT. So I hope you know when I say this, I'm not coming from a position that is opposing Nvidia for the sake of it. I'm not an Nvidia fanboy, I'm not an AMD fanboy. I want to do what's best for the market. All of these things that are not going well for Nvidia are good for us as consumers, because it will drive competition, which means cheaper, faster computers that have better feature sets. Pushing Nvidia into a corner like this will either force them to fix their mistakes and give us a better product, or Nvidia won't see anything wrong with what they're doing and they won't adapt, allowing AMD to keep doing what they're doing and push them further into a corner, giving us better products from AMD instead of Nvidia. And that's it. At the end of the day, we all get a better product, and this is why you shouldn't have brand loyalty. Because when your brand doesn't make a good product, they won't know it's not a good product until you stop buying it. So vote with your wallets this time around, guys. Buy the better product. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. It's been a wild ride this last couple of weeks. Next week's video, I think we're going to try and do a Steam Deck versus Switch video. I bought a Switch OLED. See how it does. Anyway, see you guys in the next one.